The fluorescent lights above me buzzed like angry wasps. Through the small window in the delivery room door, I could see Sarah's face twisted in pain, and something else. Fear. Rage. Her finger pointed directly at me as she screamed words I couldn't hear through the thick glass. The nurse's hand landed firm on my shoulder. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." My legs wouldn't move. After 9 months of planning, of promises, of holding Sarah's hand through every ultrasound, I was being erased. Deleted from the moment I'd been dreaming about since the pregnancy test turned positive. "But she promised," I whispered. "She promised I could be here." The nurse's eyes held pity, and something else I couldn't name. That's when the monitor started screaming. 2 hours earlier, I'd been folding tiny onesies in the nursery I'd spent weeks preparing. Yellow walls because they didn't want to know the gender. A mobile with wooden elephants I'd carved myself, each one sanded smooth as silk. My son David called at 6:47 a.m. "Mom, it's time." Sarah's water broke. My hands shook so badly I could barely grip my keys. I'd been waiting for this call for 9 months. 37 years, really, since the day I held David for the first time and wondered what kind of grandmother I'd be. I never imagined it would feel like this. The hospital parking lot was empty, except for scattered cars that looked abandoned. Dawn was breaking, painting everything the color of old brass. I texted David, "Parking now. Love you both so much." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "See you soon, Mom." Not "come up," not "room 347, just "soon?" My chest tightened. I shook it off. Sarah was in labor. David was stressed. Everything was normal. Everything was fine. The elevator ride to the maternity ward took forever. I watched the numbers climb and remembered another elevator, 38 years ago. Different hospital, same churning feeling in my gut. My own mother's hand in mine, cold as winter stone. "Some things we do for love," she whispered. "You'll understand someday." I was 9 years old. I didn't understand anything. The maternity ward nurse smiled when she saw the gift bag in my hands. "Excited, Grandma? Is it that obvious? You're glowing." She checked her computer. "Sarah Mitchell, room 347. But honey, you might want to wait a bit. She's only 4 centimeters dilated and—" I promised I'd be there from the start. Something flickered across her face. Let me just check with the family first." That word, check. As if I wasn't family. I stood in the hallway, fluorescent lights humming overhead, and remembered standing in another hallway. Our apartment building, 3rd floor, peeling yellow wallpaper that smelled like cigarettes and someone else's cooking. I was holding my mother's hand, watching her knock on a door I'd never seen before. The woman who answered had kind eyes. She pressed an envelope into my mother's palm. My mother's fingers trembled as she took it. "Thank you," my mother breathed. "You don't know what this means." I didn't ask questions. Children living in poverty learn not to. David appeared at the end of the hallway. His face was pale, shirt wrinkled. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Mom?" He stopped 6 feet away. Too far for a hug. She's having a hard time." "That's why I'm here." I moved toward him. "To support both of you." He didn't move closer. "She needs calm right now. Quiet. The midwife says too many people in the room can—" "David, we planned this. Sarah asked me herself, remember? She held my hand at the ultrasound and said she wanted me there because her own mother couldn't—" "I know." His voice cracked. But things change. What changed? He wouldn't meet my eyes. Sarah found something. In your house. Last month, when we were helping you clean out the garage? My blood turned to ice. Found what? A box of letters. Old ones. He finally looked at me. Letters from a law firm. About an adoption. The world tilted. I reached for the wall. The gift bag slipped from my fingers, spilling hand-knit booties across the sterile floor. David. Why didn't you tell me? His voice broke completely. All these years. All the times I asked about my father, about where we came from, you lied. I never lied. You hid the truth. That's the same thing. It isn't. God, it isn't. But standing there, watching my son look at me like a stranger, I understood why he couldn't see the difference. The childhood memory rushed back, sharper now. That apartment door, that envelope, my mother's trembling hands. I was 9 when she took me to that woman's house. I was 9 when I watched her accept money I didn't understand. I was 9 when I heard her say, "She'll have a better life with them. You made the right choice." I was 32 when I opened my own door to find a lawyer standing there. Miss Chen, I'm here about a private adoption that was finalized in 1992. The adoptee has requested contact information for their birth mother. They'd like to meet you. Sarah thinks you're going to do the same thing, David said. His words cut through 33 years of silence. She thinks you're going to try to take our baby, or that you're only interested because you gave me away and now you're trying to get a second chance. David, no, God, no. That's not... Then what is it, Mom? Because I read those letters. I know you signed papers. I know you gave up a baby for adoption before I was born.
My legs finally gave out. I sank against the wall, sliding down until I was sitting on the cold hospital floor. Her name was Catherine, I whispered. I was 17, homeless, pregnant, and terrified. David's face was stone. So you gave her away. I gave her a chance. The words came out fierce. I was living in my car, David. I had $43 to my name. The father was gone. My own mother was... I stopped, swallowed. My mother was dying. This was the part I'd never told anyone. The part that still woke me at 3 a.m, gasping. The flashback hit like a wave. I was 16. My mother was 44. Gray-faced, coughing blood into tissues she tried to hide. She'd been cleaning houses for 12 years, ever since we'd immigrated. 3 jobs, no insurance, no rest. The cancer took her in 6 months. Before she died, she told me the truth. "The money that woman gave me," she said, her voice paper-thin, "when you were 9. That was my sister, your aunt. She was paying me to keep a secret." "What secret?" "Your father didn't leave." Her eyes were hollow. "He died. Car accident, 2 months before you were born. He had a wife. Another family. They paid me to stay quiet, to never claim anything, to disappear." I was 16. I was angry. I was so angry I couldn't breathe. "You took money? You let them erase him?" "I took money so you could eat," she said. "I took money so we could have a roof. I took money because I had no choice. And I'd do it again. Every time." She died 3 weeks later. I found out I was pregnant 1 month after the funeral. I was 17 and alone, I told David now, my voice steady despite the tears. I couldn't feed myself, let alone a baby. So I found an agency, I signed papers, and I gave Catherine to a family who could give her everything I couldn't. David's face was unreadable. "And then you had me, kept me." I was 25 when I got pregnant with you. I had a job, an apartment, a chance. I looked up at him. And your father, Richard, he stayed. Until he didn't. But that's different. You were 3. I was strong enough to do it alone by then. So you chose me. His voice was hollow. You chose to keep me, but not her. David. The delivery room door opened. A nurse stepped out, face grave. Is this the grandmother? David nodded. Sarah's asking for her, the nurse said. She's saying she needs to talk to her before the baby comes. I stood on shaking legs. David grabbed my arm. Not gentle, not rough, uncertain. What did you tell Sarah? Nothing. I haven't told her anything yet. I wanted to hear it from you first. The nurse led me to the door. Through the window, I could see Sarah propped up in bed, her face red and swollen, belly huge under the hospital gown. Her eyes found mine, and she screamed, "Get her out! Get her out of here!" The nurse pulled me back. David rushed inside. I stood there frozen as Sarah's voice carried through the door. She gave away her own baby. She's going to try to take mine. She's going to try to steal him. The monitor started screaming then. Sarah's blood pressure spiking, the medical team swarming, and me standing in the hallway, watching my world collapse. The memory hit different this time. I was 9 years old, standing in that hallway, holding my mother's hand, the woman pressing money into my mother's palm. But now I remembered something else. My mother hadn't taken the money, not at first. She had tried to push it back. I can't. She needs to know him. She deserves to know where she comes from. And she will, when she's older, when it's right. But right now, his family is grieving. His wife is grieving. This money, it's not payment. It's help. It's a bridge until you can stand on your own. My mother had looked down at me, at my shoes with holes in them, at my coat that was too thin for winter. Some things we do for love. You'll understand someday. She'd taken the money. She'd protected me from a truth I wasn't ready for, just like I'd protected Catherine from a life of poverty, just like I'd kept the truth from David to spare him the complexity of a choice made in desperation. A doctor came out 30 minutes later. The baby's in distress. We need to prep for emergency C-section. David's face was ash. Is Sarah? Sarah's asking for her mother-in-law. The doctor looked at me. She's saying she needs to tell you something before the surgery. I didn't understand, but I followed. Sarah looked small in the hospital bed, tubes and wires and fear. Her hand shot out, grabbed mine. I'm sorry, she gasped. I'm so sorry. I panicked. I heard David on the phone with his sister, your daughter, the one you gave up, and I thought, God, I thought you were in contact with her and hiding it, and that meant you'd hidden everything, and I just... The monitor screamed again. We need to go now, the doctor barked. They wheeled Sarah away. David stood beside me, pale. My daughter? I whispered. She called 3 weeks ago. Catherine, she found you. She wanted to meet. David was going to surprise you after the baby came, but I overheard and I thought, God, I thought you were in contact with her and hiding it, and that meant you'd hidden everything, and... The monitor screamed again. We need to go now, the doctor barked. They wheeled Sarah away. David stood beside me, pale. Catherine called? I whispered. He nodded. She's 41. She's a teacher. She has 2 kids of her own. She said... His voice broke. She doesn't blame you. She said she had a good life. She just wants to know you, to thank you. I couldn't breathe. 33 years of guilt, of wondering, of praying I'd made the right choice. She wanted to be here, David continued, for the birth, as a surprise, to meet you, to show you that you made the right choice, that she's happy, that she's... A nurse burst through the doors. It's a boy, healthy, 8 pounds 4 ounces. Mother and baby are perfect. They let me hold him 2 hours later. 7 pounds of warm, perfect alive. He had David's nose,
Sarah's chin, and when he opened his eyes, I saw my mother looking back at me. Sarah was crying. "I'm so sorry. I was terrified. I thought you'd choose," I said softly, "like I chose before. But Sarah, I didn't choose Catherine over anything. I chose for Catherine. I chose the best life I could give her, just like my mother chose for me, just like every mother who's ever had to make an impossible choice." David's hand found my shoulder. "Catherine's on her way. She caught the next flight. She'll be here tomorrow." I looked down at my grandson, at this tiny person who would grow up knowing his whole story, all of it, the good and the hard and the complicated truth that families are built from love and sacrifice and sometimes impossible choices. "What are you naming him?" I whispered. Sarah smiled through tears. "James, after your father. David told me about him, about how he died before you were born, and how your mother kept that secret to protect you." The baby, James, yawned, stretched, his tiny fingers wrapped around mine. Some memories don't fade. They wait in the corners of our lives until we're ready to understand the love behind them. I was 9 years old, holding my mother's hand, watching her accept money so I could eat. I was 17, signing papers so my daughter could thrive. I was 62, holding my grandson, finally understanding what my mother whispered all those years ago. Some things we do for love. You'll understand someday. Today, I finally did.